Hello and thanks for joining me in this video. I'm going to be talking about OBS. We're going to cover all the essentials that you need to know about OBS, things that I regularly use. So OBS over the years has helped me make my workflow very nice and very easy. I've got multiple things that can pop up on screen. I can have sponsor messages like you've seen just pop up down here, trusted creators, as well as while that pops up, I actually get a screen that pops up on my screen with what I need to say. So when I push that button, it actually brings up multitude of things. If I show an example, there's another one. So that has just changed to another sponsor, and now it's bringing another script on my screen. So what would that be like? In my live show, I'll be speaking. The next segment of our show is brought to you by easyeatcrew.com, the ultimate resource for foodies and cooking enthusiasts. Check out the awesome food adventures at easyeatcrew.com and be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the latest episodes. So now I can close that section, and it kind of has, like, it's just all one big live stream, which then means I can simply just get onto each part of the show. So that's a little look at things that you can do. You'll notice down here I've got a little ticker thing with like loads of images going through, also available on different platforms. So what we will do in today's episode is I'll break everything down in the chapters. I'll link you to each section. We're looking at least 10 of the most used things I use in my OBS. I'm going to share my OBS screen. I'm going to give you an idea of what's on my OBS screen. So you'll notice on my OBS screen, it's quite a lot going on. Again, this is a different OBS session to the one I'm recording this on, because remember, I am recording this OBS at the moment, and I've got different docs here. The first thing I want to show you is scenes. The first thing I want to show you in OBS is profiles, which is quite important. What does a profile mean? On the top menu here, you've got a profile. You'll notice here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got one called 1080p Restream. I've got 720p for Amazon. I've got a horizontal virtual camera. These are all separate profiles I've set up. So when we say profiles, you can remember you can live stream from OBS. So when you go to File and Settings, it'll bring up a settings menu just like this, and that settings menu allows you to save settings for the type of live stream you want to do. So if I want to do a different live stream, like for example, the settings here are different, the orientation is different, horizontal, vertical, I can come into here and I can change it, which does mean it's all relevant to a specific area. So for example, right now in the profile, I am in 1080p Restream. That can be, in your example, you could have one for when you live stream. You can have one for when you record normal videos. So in this example, I've got 1080p Restream, then I've got 720p Amazon. So you notice the windows changed. So that is because it was set up in a specific way. So profile, think of that like different setups for settings. If you want to stream to YouTube, you can have the stream key saved in one of those profiles. If you want to stream to Facebook individually, separately, you can have another one for Facebook live streaming. If you want TikTok, you can have one for TikTok. So all the settings are saved there. When you open OBS, you just flick through the one you want and use that one for your stream. What will happen is, as you do this, it will change. Settings will change here. However, these are the profiles which contain the settings for the live stream. We also have scene selection. Number 2 would be scene selection. Scene selection allows you to actually look at different elements. So what that means is, when you have a scene, for example, if I do horizontal direct, there's some things missing there. If I do 1080p there, you'll see these have changed. They're changing. So you can have a different scene. You can have different ZulfTalks podcast. I can have a full different setup for a different live stream. So I do a live stream on TikTok. I do a live stream on YouTube. I do podcast recording. So I've got a profile set up for each one of those. So whichever one I'm doing, all my things on screen are set up. When we say things, what do we mean? So for example, the desk camera may be different. the little pop-ups that I have on screen coming up, like for example, that's a story time. That would be different. For each one, I can have a different one of those. I'm going to explain later on how to do little bits, how to resize things. So stay tuned for that. So let me go into OBS and open up a new profile. And then that way we can, so I've called it untitled. That's a separate profile. In that, you can go into settings. I did a full video about the main settings that I use. When you go into settings, anything you save in this information here will be saved in your settings profile, which is called untitled. Hoping this makes sense. So how you can think about this is have one called maybe live streaming, set it up for live streaming. You can have another one for recording locally or live streaming to another place. Have that as a separate profile. I have Zulf Talks, I have Hyping Tech, I have loads. Trusted Creators, there's loads of different profiles set up. These are all individual profiles. So that explains profiles. Scenes selection, you can actually go in and make a new one. So if I go new here and it asks me what name you want to call it, I'll call this test and do OK. So now you'll notice it's all empty. Everything is empty there. So what do we want to do here? What we want to do is have a location where we can easily bring in video. So how to bring in video? You can go add. You can, depending on what you want to bring in. Let me bring in display capture. Just imagine that's a camera. I do display capture. So that's display capture. Let's change that to the other monitor. Let me bring in a. Let me bring it here. What can I show you? Let me bring something up here so I can show you it. So if you go YouTube. So what I've done here is I bring in a source. That is a display. You'll notice I can grab the corner here where the red is and I can drag that and make it bigger or smaller. So for example, that screen is actually a square screen. So what does that mean? It means I can't fill my window. However, if I drag it big enough, I can fill the window. And now this display capture over here, you can see on the screen within an OBS session, and it's called display capture. That could easily be a camera. Say for example, I only want to show some bits of the screen. For example, if you've got a section in your OBS which is a camera and you want to make it smaller, I just want to focus on maybe Jim Carrey there. Can I just crop him? You can do this, but nothing happens. If you have a keyboard, if you press Alt key on your keyboard at the same time, so you press Alt and then you click and drag, it gives you another option. So let me show you what I mean by that. So if I go back here, I'm currently pressing Alt and then I'm holding. You see how that changes? If you press Hold, so now I'm actually cutting. You see how it's cutting? So I can cut that, come to the other side, press Alt, cut that, bring it all the way in, go to the bottom, press Alt, cut that. So now you're only seeing a little bit of my screen. So that element there is only one section of the screen, which is very handy if you want to show only little aspects. So for example, if I bring my mouse over here, you'll see that's only one element of my entire screen. So I don't want to show my entire screen. So that's a good tip. Use Alt with your mouse, Alt and click, and you can resize the small window like I just showed you there. So that's an example of that. So how about if you want to bring in other things onto your screen? This helps if you have dual monitors. There's different ways of bringing in elements of video into your screen. So you'll see that's just one element of that really big monitor that I brought in. So say for example, I want to bring in an extra document maybe. So I'm doing stuff on my computer. So I've got notes here. Right now you're seeing only elements of the note. So if I go in, I can open up a notepad. I can open PDF document on my monitor, and then I can display capture it, and then I can go through and show you elements of that on the screen. So if you've got a camera, you've got a display capture, you can capture individual programs, or you can capture a display entirely. If you have two monitors, have one dedicated for on-camera use, have it set up on a source, and that's how you can do that. How do you capture a camera in there? So you can do plus video capture device, and now it'll ask you what do you want to capture. So if I do my OBS session, which I'm sharing right now, use the same trick I talked about earlier and do Alt, I can bring that in just to my camera. I can make my camera bigger, just bring it up there. So now if I'm doing a teaching type scenario, I've got my camera present as well as my screen, so you can see text on my screen. That can be a PDF document, that could be a video, that could be most things on screen. So that helps you with that element of it. It may be a bit confusing how I'm showing it to you here because I'm recording a screen of a screen, but that helps to give you an idea of what you can do with the power of OBS, especially for these little things. Can OBS stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time? You can do, but you need to use software which can dual stream. I have Restream.io. There's other ones out there, but that's something to think about. Can you use multiple capture cameras? Yes, you can. So for example, I have got this camera and then I've got this camera, which is two separate cameras. You can have as many cameras as you like, really, as many ports as you've got. You can get the ATM Mini. The ATM Mini allows you to plug multiple cameras into your computer. How much does OBS actually cost? Well, OBS is open source, so there's no charge for it. You can get it free on the internet and download it. I did a video about that. How to connect your camera to OBS. There's a few ways you've got to connect it. You can connect it via USB. You can connect it free. And that's all going to be something that will help you, because if you're using it as a connection, it will be better than a wireless because that can drop, for example. Bringing in sound into OBS is very interesting. So I did a video about how I use my microphone, how I connected that to OBS. So the key here is to save you time. You want your video and your audio to go into OBS, which makes one file with both things connected. And then in editing, you don't have to worry about matching things up because you're not recording audio separately. And to add it, let me show you quickly what that looks like. So here, for example, right now we're doing a video capture and a display capture. You'll notice here there's no microphone connected, and to quickly add a microphone, you can add it as a source again here. So if you do add and then do audio capture device, audio input capture, then you get a little pop-up screen. You can select one of your sources. So see, now we've got this meter here which gives you like how much I'm speaking. When I'm quiet, it does nothing. When I'm talking, it will do a talking. So that gives you an idea of the audio input. That audio input could be a microphone on your camera. It could be a microphone on your webcam, which won't sound as good. It will sound very far away. So ideally, you want it to be an external source, which sounds a lot better because it's just cleaner, and audio is more important than video. I did a separate video about that, you may have seen. Sync my OBS. Okay, so I sometimes have this issue when I'm live streaming where you can't sync audio. What do you mean by syncing? Let me give you an example. So like I'll clap, but the audio is like delayed, or it claps and then I'm clapping on screen, so it's like out of sync. How to fix that is if you go into OBS and go into your source here, you can click on the dots and do properties, and here you'll see there's a sync offset here. At the moment it says 0, and you can make it's milliseconds, so 1000 is 1 second, so normally it's slightly off. So I normally put 250 milliseconds, which is like a quarter of a second, and then I do close. I do a test recording. I record into OBS. I did a video about how to record into OBS, and I'll just clap and then I'll watch the video back if it's synced. Sometimes if you're live streaming, there will always be a little bit of delay. You can't help that. But if you're recording video to your hard drive and using that for editing, you should be okay, because you can millisync edit it basically. It's not editing, but in OBS you're setting it up to eliminate the need for editing, which works out quite well. Okay, and can you play music in OBS? Yes, you can, just like that. So you can press a button and then it will be playing music straight away. So now it's probably very loud music. You can adjust the music as it comes through. So you can see here. Okay, so there's the music. So well, let me see how loud that is to you. So you can adjust the volume. Let me show you how that looks like. So if I go show you my screen. So you're listening to music. Here it's not showing the music. So you need to, let me turn the music off. So here you would go add video capture audio, input capture audio, output capture. You can, I normally play it on my desktop. So if I do audio output capture and then select my audio from what device. So for example, if I select this, you'll see now the microphone is that one. When I play music, see that's started to come into play. Turn music off. Look, that one's gone dead. If you can see on screen, that should show you. And then here, you can adjust the volume of that. So then you can play music while you're doing live streaming in the background. You can play examples, you can play videos or YouTube videos, and then people, if you're doing commentary or something, I play what computer specs do I need to run OBS? Nothing too fancy. If you're encoding video live, it might be helpful to have like a computer that's fairly recent. Well, most computers can live stream. I live streamed on a really old laptop. It's just down to can it handle it. Sometimes it will like glitch out. You'll get like delays. The computer's running really hot because it's trying to encode the video. So if you've got a computer from the last 7-8 years, you should be perfectly fine. If you have a graphics card in there, it'll help you even more because that helps with the encoding of the video. What specs do I need to run OBS? So that's computer specs. What do I use OBS for? So let me review overall what I use OBS for then. So today's video, I'm going to basically cover a few elements to help you with OBS. If you're not sure about OBS, I'm going to talk about my key uses for OBS, what I use the most, and help you to maybe understand what you can do with OBS. There's so much you can do with OBS. I am using OBS right now to record this little segment. I'm going through a number of different scenes by using a little buttoning system here, and you can have little sponsor messages come up on screen, as well as at the same time a script that I see on my monitor, which I'm sharing with you now. This show is brought to you by trustedcreators.org. With the commitment to quality and exceptional service, start your next creative project with the help of trustedcreators.org, the premier community of professional designers, writers, photographers, and more. They have the expertise you need to bring your ideas to life. Visit their website to learn more. So you'll see that is all done live. That's one take. I made a little bit of a mistake there, but if you do that frequently and like regularly, you'll have loads of those where you can bring them in there. You can have little pop-ups on screen when people don't want to thank you, want to thank someone. You can have little shout out buttons, and this is all happening while you're live streaming. So OBS can do a lot of this for you and make it easy for you. However, setting it up can be a bit of a nightmare, and this video will help you with the most frequent things that you can do, and hopefully this helps you. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you found these tips helpful. I'm going to link you to another video here about how to set up OBS to help you even more. So what we can do is, link you to the next video here, which will be 10 times better, sign 10 times better. Audio is very important when you're doing OBS and live streaming, especially recording videos. So I'm going to link you to another video here, which will actually give you more information about how to make your voice sound better in recordings and in OBS. I'll see you on that video. Well, it's not in OBS, it's. I'll link you to another video here you can check out, which will be about how to make a YouTube video, and I'll see you on that video.